What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Boogie2988 coming at you live once again through the power of the internet. And once again, I'm going to be talking about some drama, though this isn't really drama. This involves YouTube and mainstream and Joe Rogan. I know some people don't like this stuff when I talk about this, but I like to provide commentary on this stuff, especially because this one involves morbid obesity and unhealthy fat people like me and Ethan Klein. Though, can I say, it upsets me when people call Ethan Klein fat, okay? I'm fat. This is what fat looks like, okay? I lost 200 pounds and I'm still huge, all right? Stop giving Ethan Klein credit for being fat. I'm actually fat. This entire controversy started when Ethan Klein tweeted this out saying, Joe Rogan, who lives on elk meat, egg yolk, and human growth hormone with lungs full of tar, thinks he's healthier than everyone. This MFer is such a B word that when he got COVID, he threw the kitchen sink at it. If you're so healthy, just write it out like you say a man should. Now look, I'm not here to talk about COVID. You've already made your decision, right? My advice has always been this. Go to your doctor, do what your doctor tells you to do. If you don't have a doctor, now's a really good time to get one. That's the advice I have followed my entire life. Even though I've been morbidly obese, even though I've had heart problems and lymphedema and all these other different problems, my doctors have kept me alive through all of it. It's a miracle I'm still alive. It's a miracle of modern science that I haven't had a stroke or a heart attack yet. So I just listen to my doctor, and that's what I recommend everyone does. So that said, a lot of people would say that me or Ethan Klein, neither of us are in a position to offer health advice. And I kind of get that point of view because obviously the best health advice that I could have, probably Ethan as well, is lose the weight so that we don't have any of the comorbidities and other issues that we would be facing. Like obviously, if we're not doing that basic thing that we need to do to take really good care of ourselves, then we can't really be judging other people. And I think that's fair. On the other hand, I do have a lot of life experience. I spent a lot of time in hospitals. I spent a lot of time in doctors' waiting offices and emergency rooms. So I might know a thing or two about the mistakes that I've made and how to avoid those mistakes. Unfortunately, that's not what Ethan's doing here. In these follow-up tweets, Ethan expands on what he means, said, dude has caused so much vaccine hesitancy and misinformation, and he doesn't even have the balls to stand by the stuff he preaches. Now he's on the show talking about how fat people should just die of COVID. Dude is such a piece of garbage. Instead of getting vaccinated, he takes Regeneron, an experimental drug that was developed alongside the mRNA vaccines. His logic makes no sense. And then credits ivermectin, which did nothing for his COVID. Not to mention whatever is the fuck is an alpha brain. Meanwhile, while Joe is on a big pharma conspiracy against vaccines, someone needs to ask him who makes ivermectin and Regeneron and all the other stuff he took when he had COVID. What Ethan is doing here is he's judging Joe Rogan. And I'll admit, I mean, that makes a bit of sense that Joe Rogan was hesitant to take the vaccine because he doesn't trust Big Pharma. But then when it came time to the treatment, he did trust Big Pharma and he trusted all this alternative medicine as well. And look, I'm not here to judge Joe Rogan. I'm not interested in judging Joe Rogan. I'm in no position to judge Joe Rogan. So why would I even try? But that's what Ethan wanted to do here, and that's clearly what Ethan did. And this, for whatever reason, made Twitter headlines. This made mainstream news headlines, even NBC News covering it, because, of course, you're talking about Joe Rogan. You've probably heard about the story through a friend or another YouTube channel by now as well. And I do think that this is part of what Ethan was planning. Ethan knows that when you attack another content creator, another YouTuber, a podcaster, mainstream media, people sit up and listen. And you're going to rile up their user base and everybody else's, and people are going to get your name out there. I mean, I've considered that exact strategy in the past before, and Lord knows people have used that strategy against me. I prefer to be more milquetoast, lukewarm, on the fence, though. I think we all know that by now. But the reason I wanted to talk about this today is because a lot of people have pointed out that Ethan Klein, heavy, overweight, not as built and as ripped as Joe Rogan, doesn't have the right to make comments on health issues, other people's health, things along that lines. And I really have I think is going to be a not milquetoast opinion on this. Fuck you. I can talk about whatever I want to, and I can criticize anything I want to, even if I'm fat. And I do mean that. I mean, I can criticize whatever I want to. I can talk about whatever I want to. It might seem hypocritical. You may not like it. I might attack Joe Rogan's fan base. I might attack anybody else's fan base. I can attack Joe Rogan himself if I want to. Doesn't really matter. I have the right to do that. Free speech, all that jazz. I mean, Ethan needs to realize that while he has free speech, so does everybody else on the internet. People are allowed to clap back. If you choose to clap at Joe Rogan, his audience has every right to clap back. And of course, I think Ethan knows that Joe Rogan might clap back as well. And if he does, hey, that's like free money, free press, free attention from Joe Rogan's audience right on the podcast for Ethan. And Ethan has even asked to be on the podcast before. So again, I think Ethan knows what he's doing here. I don't mind helping him out by talking about it here either. Hey, Joe, put Ethan on the podcast. I don't care. But I do think this goes to show how many people, maybe on the right, but also the left, or maybe in the middle, I don't really know. But so many people believe that fat people bad, fat people are a disgrace, fat people can't give advice, fat people are failures, whatever. There's a lot of people out there who look down on fat people, and I've seen more and more of it over the last few years. And I think it's kind of depressing. It's funnier, the skinnier I got, the angrier people got at fat people. And I bet if you're fat, you've experienced this too. I don't understand why, but in the last few years, we've seen the internet get madder and madder and madder at obese people. I just don't get it. I'm still the same fat, jolly asshole I've always been. It might appear hypocritical for me to offer weight loss advice, but I have lost a couple of 100 pounds, and while I've failed to lose the rest, I know why I haven't failed to lose the rest, why I haven't succeeded. So I can offer that advice to anybody. I'll offer it in YouTube videos. I'll offer it on live stream. I don't really care. I absolutely, 100% will offer advice about myself if someone ever asks for it. Again, though, that's not what Ethan has done here. Ethan has broken a cardinal rule, one that people break with me all the time, and it pisses me off when people do it, is they offer unsolicited advice. Hey man, you need to lose weight. Hey man, you need to cut your beard. Hey man, you need to do this. You need to do that. Fuck you, right? Like, fuck you. I know what I need to do. Me and my therapist and my friends and my family, we know what I need to do. I don't know you, man. You're a stranger. Joe Rogan doesn't know Ethan. They should shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. And I know at the beginning of all of this stuff, back in 2020, I broke that cardinal rule. I said, you should probably wear your mask because my doctor says wear a mask. And you should probably get the vaccine because my doctor says to get the vaccine. I talked about the stuff that my doctor told me, and I offered it to my audience on my platform. Again, that's still different from attacking somebody else for not following that advice, which is something I don't think I've done. And if I have, I wish I hadn't. I'm not the kind of person that's going to get mad at you for ignoring your doctor or going to a different doctor who suggests something different. It doesn't matter what your way of handling this stuff is. That's up to you. That's between you and God and everyone else. And I'm not really here to be in the middle of it. And if I'm afraid that you might give me COVID, if I'm afraid that something like that, I'll stay home because I have that option. I'm not here to tell you what to do with your body, period. I don't care. I just want you to see a doctor, and I want you to listen to your doctor. And hopefully they're not a quack. A lot of people are pointing out that Ethan is fat, and that completely invalidates his opinion because he's fat. But there are plenty of people who are criticizing Ethan for going on the offense, for offering health advice that's unsolicited, and things along that lines. And for that, I think it's fair to criticize Ethan. 110%. Absolutely criticize him the same way he would criticize somebody else. And when you open the door of criticizing somebody else, you damn well better expect criticism to come back. If you clap, they're going to clap back. But as usual, that's one man's opinion. I could be wrong. Let me know what you think about these videos. I really enjoy talking about the stuff in the way that I choose to talk about it. Guys, as always, thanks for watching. I love you very much, and I will speak with you again soon. Joe, put Ethan on the podcast. Put me on. Put everybody on the podcast. I don't give a shit.